Johnny Hendricks had a fantastic fight with George St. Pierre back in November.
Now George is in trouble. He's wobbly.
It was one of the first times that we've really seen George St. Pierre tested.
Another one. Oh, my goodness. George is in big, big trouble here, Mike.
He put one of the biggest beatings on George St. Pierre we've ever seen.
He is busted up big time.
And still, the undisputed UFC welterweight champion.
It was a fight that a lot of people felt Johnny Hendricks won. I'm blown away that George St. Pierre won that fight. Does anybody here think that Johnny Hendricks didn't win the fight?
He hit like a truck, you know? As soon as they said still champion, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. That was the worst he's ever looked after a fight. You're going, man, that's the champ. That's the guy who still holds the belt, and I'm perfectly fine.
I want that belt. That's what I just earned, but it's taken away from me. I swear to God that won't happen again.
Johnny Hendricks really felt like he was wronged by the judges, and I think he wants to come out and leave no doubt who the champion is this time around.
I'm coming back. I'll get that belt. It's mine. I want to give my hands up to Johnny Hendricks, my toughest opponent so far, and I need to hang up my glove for a little bit.
There's a part of me that would like to think that it was me that led him to retirement a little bit. The way that I overpowered him, he wasn't expecting that. I think he was like, if I win this fight, I'm done.
George St. Pierre announced that he's vacating the belt. It was a no-brainer that Johnny Hendricks would be one of the guys given a shot at the title. And then it was like, who's the other guy going to be in there?
I actually talked to Dana. He was like, you're going to fight Robbie Lawler for the belt in Dallas.
I never really had a doubt. I put myself in the situation that if GSP steps down, that I'm right there at the top.
It could be a first-round fight. It could be a third-round fight. The way that me and Robbie fight, it could end that with bang.
I need to be sharp. I need to be explosive, and I need to hurt him.
Johnny Hendricks is a two-time national champion wrestler in college.
He has a wrestling base that's just about unmatched. I mean, there's very few people in mixed martial arts that could say they have the type of collegiate wrestling background that Johnny Hendricks did, but he's added an extremely dangerous punching arsenal to that as well.
Johnny Hendricks wants to knock you out. He makes that clear. You know it going in. He's coming to take your head off.
I want to be number one because I want everybody to be coming after me.
He may have more power than anybody in the history of the welterweight division. And I think that's why he had so much momentum going into the fight against GSP.
It wasn't about GSP. GSP just had what I wanted. Having that belt, that solidifies saying that you are number one. So I was grateful that he stepped away quick and gave me and Robbie Lawler a chance to go at it.
Robbie Lawler came back to the UFC about a year ago.
He had a nearly 9-year absence from the octagon, but somewhere along the line found his maturity as a fighter.
He fought in Strikeforce, and he was the Elite XC middleweight champion. He's 3-0 since his return to the octagon.
When I got the opportunity to come back in the UFC and I moved down to 170, it was like a whole new career got started.
He's just become more disciplined, more technical, and at 170 pounds hits about as hard as anybody on the planet.
His action in the past year has been speaking for itself. Every fight he's improving, every fight he's putting pieces together. His performances are better.
And it's all over! Robbie Lawler, victorious in his UFC return! Wow!
The Koscheck fight validated who I was. I always knew who I was, but it made everyone else see what I was capable of.
Knocks him down with a combination!
I feel like I have a story now. I feel like when I first started in the UFC, they wanted this story, and there was really no story. I was just a young kid coming out trying to fight.
It's a really great story because it's a resurgence of one of the old guards of mixed martial arts.
It's about falling down, getting back up, falling down, getting back up, and being willing to grind.
Robbie Lawler has shown from the time he was a teenager that he could put anybody's lights out with one punch.
He destroyed guys. Insane highlight reel knockouts.
And he is out! Ruthless Robbie Lawler!
And that might be what it takes to beat Johnny Hendricks.
He's the kind of guy that can change a fight on a dime just by the power in his hands.
I never really had a doubt what I was capable of. That's why I'm still here.
It's crazy to think how long ago Robbie Lawler started in the UFC. I mean, it was 12 years ago, and the guy's only 31 years old right now.
It's kind of crazy to think about how long I fought, but it just makes what's going on right now a lot sweeter.
I think we may be seeing Robbie Lawler's true potential right now.
A lot of that is the maturity and the experience from being in there for so long.
There was a reason I was outside of the UFC. I was evolving my skills, working on stuff. I didn't want to do interviews. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to hype myself up. I'm ready to do it now.
You're really going to see an explosive stand-up battle between him and Hendricks.
That's what I want. That's the competitor in me. I hated being ranked number 2. I want to be the champ.
Carlos Condit, Tyron Woodley, 2 of the best fighters at 170 pounds. I think these 2 might be fighting to see who's number 2. We've got a new title fight on the horizon, but we've also got to figure out who's next.
Carlos Condit's one of the top mixed martial artists to not have a belt.
He's been fighting at a top level against elite fighters for more than a decade.
What an armbar!
You can make a case for him being the best striker in the 170-pound division.
He's coming at you with punches, kicks, knees, elbows. He throws everything.
Condit with a flying knee.
I have this kind of dynamic style where I bring all kinds of different things to the table. Usually it works out pretty well for me.
The interim UFC welterweight champion of the world.
Still not satisfied. I was the interim champion. I want to become the undisputed champion.
And you will now be facing Georges St-Pierre for the undisputed title.
It looked like this was going to be Carlos Condit's night.
Georges is in big trouble.
But Georges St-Pierre, like he's done so many times in his career, came back and took control of the fight.
I just saw, all my dreams coming true in that 1 minute. And, I kind of freaked out a little bit and blew my gas tank trying to finish him.
Then Carlos Condit comes back against Johnny Hendricks.
That fight was super, super close. The decision was probably the right one, but had we had maybe another round or 2, maybe a 5-rounder, I think I would have finished him.
This was incredible to think. Carlos Condit had fought the 2 best people in the welterweight division, but had back-to-back defeats and was really in desperate need of a win.
Coming off those 2 losses, it basically just gave me a blueprint of what I needed to do different.
Beautiful body shot from Condit on the left hand of the liver. And that'll do it. Carlos Condit has done it.
Condit, for all intents and purposes, gets the victory here, and he's right back in the title discussion. Probably faces the winner of Hendricks and Lawler.
I want that undisputed UFC welterweight title.
I got the fight with Carlos Condit just by persistence, man.
He must text me 15 times a day.
If the risk is high, the reward is high. Why not roll the dice?
Those are the guys I want to hear from. I love Tyron Woodley.
I'm really tailor-made for this sport. I'm compact, I'm explosive. The hard work and the mindset, the mentality I take into mixed martial arts is one of a champion.
Tyron's really genetically gifted, an extreme athlete.
Just shredded, big, looks imposing, could be a football player.
Tyron Woodley started out his career 10-0. Very, very effective in what he did.
He's a very, very tough guy, great wrestling, really dangerous striking.
Working very hard to... Victorious in his UFC debut!
That was truly a scary knockout. I mean, for somebody that we thought was a wrestler, he announced immediately that he had striking as well.
When you come into any sport, you lean into your background. For me, it was natural for me to lean to my wrestling.
The fact that he is such a good wrestler opens up his striking that much more.
I really focus on evolving my striking, using the threat of my wrestling to engage my strikes.
Oh! That's it.
This dude's legit.
Carlos Condit is a phenomenal matchup for me. When I beat him, it puts me right in position to fight my next fight for the world title.
I know that I have the abilities and the skills to take him out.
It's going to be high-paced. I think we're going to be in each other's face.
We're going to go out there, we're going to entertain the hell out of the fans.
We want to go home with a Friday night bonus. I got to get to the top and destroy him.
Get this win over Woodley, I'm going to get that title shot. I'm going to get that belt around my waist.